Most countries agree, Palestine should be independent. The United Nations has passed resolutions supporting this. International groups echo this sentiment. Palestinians have long desired freedom from Israeli control. This occupation is widely condemned. Yet, Palestine remains an observer state at the United Nations. It lacks full membership and rights. This is a glaring contradiction. The UN General Assembly wants an end to Israel's occupation. It wants a Palestinian state. These resolutions show global opinion. They highlight the desire for Palestinian self-determination. But the UN Security Council enforces resolutions. It has been unable to act. Powerful nations like the United States oppose action. This creates a stalemate. The world sees Palestine's rightful claim, but there's no way to make it real. This lack of progress fuels anger. Tensions and violence continue in the region. The United Nations tackles global conflicts. It promotes peace and security. Regarding Palestine, it provides aid. It monitors human rights. It facilitates talks between Israel and Palestine. But the UN is limited. Political divisions hinder its efforts. The Security Council's veto power is a major obstacle. The Security Council has 5 permanent members. These are China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. 10 other countries rotate membership. This council can impose sanctions. It can authorize military action. Its resolutions are law, but any permanent member can veto a resolution. This blocks action they dislike. The veto power cripples progress on Palestine. The United States consistently protects Israel. It uses its veto to block UN sanctions. It shields Israel from condemnation. This looks like bias. It undermines the UN's credibility. It makes a just peace harder to achieve. The United States and Israel are close allies. The United States opposes any UN resolution that seems bad for Israel. It argues that direct talks are the only solution. Imposed solutions, it claims, are counterproductive. But critics say the United States is enabling Israel. Its support prevents real negotiation. The United States gives billions to Israel. This includes military aid and diplomatic cover. This shields Israel from global pressure. It faces little accountability. Some say the United States is complicit in the occupation. They point to human rights violations against Palestinians. The US relationship with Israel also hurts its ties with Arab and Muslim nations. This makes regional stability harder. US policy on this issue is complex. Domestic politics play a role, so do strategic interests and historical ties. But unwavering support for Israel comes at a cost. The United States loses credibility as a neutral party. Resentment and instability grow in the Middle East. Israel insists on its right to exist. It defends its actions in Palestinian territories. These actions, it says, are about security. Israel claims it has made concessions in peace talks. It blames Palestinians for the lack of progress. However, Israel keeps building settlements. It maintains a blockade on Gaza. These are seen globally as illegal and harmful to peace. Israel's settlements are controversial. These are Jewish-only communities in the West Bank. This is considered illegal under international law. Settlements are a major roadblock to a two-state solution. They carve up the West Bank. A viable Palestinian state becomes almost impossible. Israel's blockade on Gaza adds to the tension. Imposed in 2007, it creates a humanitarian crisis. Gazans face movement restrictions, limited goods, and economic hardship. Israel faces harsh criticism for these actions. Some call it apartheid. They see a system of segregation. Ethnicity and religion determine treatment. The world wants Israel to end the occupation, dismantle settlements, and lift the blockade. These calls are mostly ignored. Section 5. The Palestinian Authority divided we stand. The Palestinian Authority, or PA, governs parts of the West Bank. It has engaged in peace talks for decades. The PA seeks a two-state solution based on the 1967 borders. It condemns settlements and security measures. It wants international recognition, but the PA is weak. Internal divisions, corruption, and reliance on Israel hinder its effectiveness. In 2012, the PA sought UN observer status. This was a way to break the peace process stalemate. It was a way to garner support. But Israel and the US opposed this. They called it a unilateral move. They said it hurt negotiations. The PA also faces criticism at home. Groups like Hamas reject the two-state solution. They want resistance against Israel. The PA's position is precarious. It must negotiate while under occupation. It must address its people's needs without full control. Internal divisions make this even tougher. A comprehensive peace agreement remains elusive. Section 6. Talking it out. The only way forward? Despite the difficulties, direct talks are seen as key. The world wants Israel and Palestine to return to the table. Good faith efforts are needed, but talks have been stalled for years. Both sides blame the other. For talks to work, both sides must commit to peace. Difficult compromises are unavoidable. Israel must address settlements, security, and Jerusalem's status. Palestinians must address Israeli security concerns and recognize Israel's right to exist. The international community can help. It can facilitate dialogue. It can offer incentives and hold both sides accountable. Sadly, real negotiations seem unlikely now. The political climate is toxic. Trust is absent. This vacuum is dangerous. Extremism, violence, and despair are the result. Section 7. The rules of the game. International law. International law matters. Human rights matter. These are crucial for resolving the conflict. They are crucial for a just peace. The world must uphold these principles. Israelis and Palestinians deserve equal rights and protections. But applying international law here is tricky. Politics often get in the way. As an occupying power, Israel is bound by the Fourth Geneva Convention. This prohibits moving its civilians into occupied land. It forbids destroying property. Collective punishment is also wrong. Israel's actions in Palestinian territories raise concerns. Settlements, home demolitions, and movement restrictions all seem to break these rules. Palestinians have rights too. They have the right to self-determination. They have the right to be free from occupation. Palestinian refugees have the right of return. International law and UN resolutions affirm this, yet these rights are denied. Frustration, anger, and injustice fester. Section 8. Palestine's future, a fork in the road. Palestine's future is uncertain. The two-state solution is fading. Peace seems distant. The occupation continues. Settlements expand. Violence erupts. This situation is unstable and unsustainable. The world must act. It must break the deadlock. International law must be upheld. Both sides must negotiate. A just peace requires a fundamental shift. Both sides must commit to coexistence. This means tackling the root issues: the occupation, settlements, security, and Jerusalem. The world can play a crucial part. It can facilitate dialogue, incentivize progress, and hold everyone accountable. Without a negotiated solution, the future is bleak. Conflict, instability, and suffering will continue. The world cannot allow this. It must strive for a future where Israelis and Palestinians live side by side. Peace, security, and dignity must prevail.